I have a different experience of that because when I was trying to make an artwork, when Coldplay announced that they are going to do the India tour.
Let's talk about how do we integrate AI in our design process without losing the human creativity and the personal touch, emotions.
In our design process, the way we integrate AI, I think as designers we should learn how to and I think that is one of the best quality a designer should have, um, which would make a better human designer, not the AI designer. Today we are going to dive into a topic that's been causing a lot of debate. Has AI made designers lazy or more creative? With AI tools popping up everywhere, from image generations to user interface suggestions, we are here to unpack the big question: is AI helping or hurting the creativity in design? Vinish, what do you think?
Absolutely. AI is everywhere in the design world right now. So there are two sides. Some says it is empowering the designers by helping them with their task, those repetitive tasks of image creation, etc. And others are saying that this AI is actually making the designers lazy. So they are not thinking much.
Yeah.
They are just using the prompts and whatever the AI system is giving up, they are using it. So
Yeah.
I believe their conscious mind is not working as a
Very
lazy
true.
part. So there are two sides. So let's deep dive into it.
So let's start with the basic, Vinish.
Yeah.
How exactly AI is impacting the design process? Is it more about automation? Is it more about creativity boosters, or is it both?
That's a good question. But I think let's understand first the process of AI, the generative AI. How does it work? So it works on three principles. First is it understands the data sets. So let's say there's a general AI model. We train that model with extensive data sets, more images and more structured data. And then it recognizes the pattern. It identifies the pattern, it understands the patterns. And the third is where we actually says the prompt, we actually input the prompt. And based on the prompt, it generates the image or it generates whatever the output. So that output is the actually outcome of the pattern it recognizes from the data set.
Yeah.
So this is the point where the originality, the question of originality comes. Is it actually original? Let's say if you want to have something, a design which resembles Van Gogh art painting. So this is the term we need to think about where does the creativity come from? Is it coming from the artist or it is coming from the Gen AI model?
Do you think the benefits of AI is more around repetitive tasks and letting the designer focus on concept development?
Yeah, it is actually beneficial on the repetitive task. For example, tools like Canva, tools like Photoshop.
Yeah.
So they are actually helping us with the manual tasks, the basic tasks where we want to remove the background.
Yeah.
So with the help of AI, the Canva, the Photoshop, in just one click or just one prompt, I don't want the background. So it gives you the foreground and the background in two different layers, which actually took a lot
Nice.
of time.
That's what
previously.
Photoshop does.
Yeah, in the Photoshop. In the Photoshop, we used pen tools, if you remember. Like cropping all over the body and making a mask out of it.
Yeah.
So now with the help of AI, it's just one click away.
I think that used to take a lot of time, and with this, I think it's just a click of a button. Then.
Yeah, it's a click of button, it's a click of prompt or whatever prompt.
A very similar thing has also been we have already practiced that when we want to research about websites or applications, do initial level of research, how this application is or who are using it, who are the users, or even to understand the kind of domain or the industry that an application is serving to. earlier it used to be a desk research, or we used to ask questions and arrange workshops to understand.
True.
Now I think with the use of AI tools, like even as basic as just ChatGPT prompts, we are saving a lot of time. I think in like an hour or so we get the data about the pre-research or the understanding of any project related to a B2B or enterprise or very specific domain. We don't have to search a lot around internet.
True.
Or even ask around.
Yeah.
And I think that's a benefit. I would take it as
It's a benefit. So to understand this thing now, so let's take the example of ChatGPT, and let's take the example of Google search. In the Google search, we are just typing the things like just say I want to just say qualitative research. So it will pop up a lot of link. But in case of ChatGPT, it is using NLP, natural language processor.
Yeah.
So it's like you are actually talking to a system.
Yeah.
Where you ask the question, I want to perform a qualitative analysis on a particular topic, suggest me something. So it will come up. It will come up with a lot of explorations. It will come up with answers also. Let's say curate 10 questions and also the answer, the correct answer.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's correct because it's all trained data.
Yeah.
So if data is wrong, then you will get the wrong answer. So that is the point here.
Yeah. And I think with ChatGPT, it has older data.
Yes, older.
It doesn't have data after 2022 or 2023.
Yeah, I don't remember that thing, but ChatGPT 4, I'm using ChatGPT for some of the projects. So it is giving some accurate data. So yesterday
I won't rely completely on the data that it would present, but I would take that definitely for the initial, just taking the first steps in the project. Like for any of the step in the design process, we can consider it as a starting point, but not getting limited by that.
True. So when you say the design process, right? So design process, I believe by the geography changes, the process also changes. Like people in the US or people in the Europe might have different strategies to come up with a design process. I don't think that ChatGPT has that particular data set right now, because when I searched last time for the particular design process for a logo design, it come up with a very vague or very cliched process of designing. But what I follow is a very different method. So if we train the Gen AI model, so I think it will be beneficial for the next generation or geographical generations to understand more.
Yeah, interesting. But I have a different experience of that, because when I was trying to make an artwork, when Coldplay announced that they are going to do the India tour, and I wanted to create generate an image through ChatGPT, where I wanted this band to be cycling around streets of India, like all the band members. So ChatGPT did not do a good job over there, but at least it considered that, it is India, so it showed some Indian streets that it looks like, it belongs to India. It had like some holy colors there. I think there was cycle also, and I did the same on the AI that we have in WhatsApp. I think that's Meta AI.
Meta AI.
That did a fair job over there. So my experience with the geography thing, or is that what you are referring to?
Yeah.
Okay. So my experience with that is that it understands fairly, but only if it is having that data set.
Data set.
So it's almost like AI acts as an assistant and helps bringing ideas to the table, but still it's up to the designer to curate and shape the vision.
So let's talk about how do we integrate AI in our design process without losing the human creativity and the personal touch, emotions that we say.
Yeah, I think that's a great question, because in our design process, the way we integrate AI, we make sure that we use AI to do most of the mundane or redundant kind of tasks or repetitive tasks. And I would like to give some examples over here where we make sure that we focus more on emotions, more on giving it a human touch, and also there's a storytelling which is taken care by all the designers that we have, by us. I think from UX perspective, I will give some examples where we use ChatGPT, where we use AI models in Miro and even in FigJam, where we provide use cases or certain kind of data to in form of a prompt, or even there are sticky notes where you can write all the use cases or kind of ingredients, and you ask AI to come up with different explorations or ideas, just to more in terms of so if you remember the double diamond approach, in the design process, where we have the first segment of the diamond where we want to flare up as much as possible in terms of thinking about all the different wild ideas that we can think of within the boundary. So we provide the boundary to the AI, and what AI would return to us would be different kind of ideas that we can think of. Now there's a catch over here where we need to make sure that, because it is still AI, it is not human, so we'll have to validate either those suggestions or ideas are gibberish, or they really make sense, or they are contextual, or they align with the entire design principles, or the language that we are trying to establish for that product. I think we are doing very similar kind of approach in brand strategy as well.
Definitely,
right?
yeah. So in terms of branding process and strategy, I will give one example. I will give two examples in fact. So the first example is like I was sketching a logo, monogram for a brand identity. So I sketched few options and then I uploaded in the Adobe Illustrator. So Adobe Illustrator has come up with an AI thing in which it replicates, not exactly replicates, it gives you variations of that particular sketch.
Yeah.
So I found almost like 10 to 15 different various options for that monogram.
AI did that for you.
AI did that for me. And I then evolved it more. That's what we can say, like personal touch.
Yeah.
Again, I will. There's another example. I was using one. I was doing one campaign in which I wanted to have a sea at the background. So I used free Pika image and I used Photoshop. I merged that thing and I asked this Photoshop to merge the lighting. So
merge the lighting.
Merge the lighting. So within within a fraction of a second, it merged the light. It merged the lighting. It merged the shadows and everything. And the whole image was like, oh wow.
Yeah.
It's just wow.
I remember early in my career, I did that, and it took me 4 days to do the rendering and even with the Photoshop.
It's called matte painting. If you remember,
Lord of the Rings,
exactly. The background, the movie's background was matte painting. So now it's just a fraction.
Interesting. Yeah. I think I think I can it's again re-establishing again and again and reinforcing that AI is a great assistant and can act as a guide. But still, the designers, humans, would give it
a personal touch.
the personal touch, and that's what it gives it heart.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the big question. Could AI ever replace human designers, or could AI ever replace human designers completely? Like no designers, just AI designing everything?
Honestly, at this time, I will say AI can replicate, or AI can replicate the technique, but not exactly replace the designers. But there's a catch. Like if you have heard of like the current scenario, we have AI, but there are three new terms: ANI, AGI, and ASI. ANI is a normal thing which we are using it, artificial I don't remember, normal intelligence. AGI is artificial general intelligence, which is actually which behaves like a human, which has a cognitive ability, and it has an ability to enter a university and pass with a very distinction mark.
Oh, okay.
The third part is the ASI, which is artificial super intelligence, which is basically used for the sci-fi things, the beyond the human capabilities. So I think abhi ke liye, like for the current scenario, AI can replicate the technique, but in the future, I don't have any answer for it.
Yeah. But do you think that it can learn or replace the human ability of thinking with emotions, with empathy, having the intuition, not just not getting limited by the data set, but even thinking about the future or more futuristic thinking. Like when we think about future, we don't use just our biases or what we have learned in the in the past. We use a lot of conscious, like we apply our conscious efforts to it. There's a lot of intuition at work. Do you think like AI could replace that? Because you said you don't have an answer, but I think for this, what I believe that AI might not be able to reach to that extent. I think when we say that AI replacing human touch, or AI not having the intuition, I would say AI would do a great job or even excellent job, everything around analytical thinking, giving you all the analytical data, all the analytical, all the ideas that are based on some analysis. But it would miss out on the intuition part, or even like thinking beyond analysis or analytical thinking, where I think AI hasn't reached there. And we have a very good example in one of the recent projects where we have experienced the limitations of AI. And yeah, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. I was just going to speak about that example only. So we were doing one video production, and we wanted to have a voiceover. So the video production was like for particularly for Ahmedabad, Gujarat region, and we wanted to have a voice which resembles the Gujarati tone. So we went on searching for some AI tool. We found some tools which actually gave some kind of voice which resembles Gujarati, Bengali, etc. There was so many options. So we selected the Gujarati thing. But at the end, we found like it's just a plain dialogue which is going on. There is no wavy thing like if there's a happiness, it's just a plain mood, and it does the job, but it's like 25% of the job was done, and just 75% was completely missing. And that's where we found you. We used your voice.
Oh, my voice.
Which was actually the best part for the video.
Yeah. I remember that, and I think for some of the words, or even the way we were supposed to form the sentence,
True.
and the way it needed to be communicated at certain point of time. I think we spent a lot of time fixing that entire voiceover using AI, where it was way faster to just record it, and probably that we got it done in like a half day with the human voice.
Yes.
Compared to spending, I think we spent like a week or two behind
Almost
the AI voiceover.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah. I think that limitation is still there, and that's still going to be there, because the entire world is a very diverse place, and that diversity is not going to stop.
True.
And that diversity increases, in exponentially. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's way faster than any AI could ever learn with that speed.
Yes.
I could be wrong over there.
No, no, you're right. This situation we all
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So I think AI can mimic the creativity, but it can't fully replace the unique ability of thinking from the certain perspectives that that human being can think about, or even the insights that human being can bring to the table.
True, true. Definitely.
Yeah,
Even
cool.
if you go for a very polished product, which is going in a supermarket, like in a shelf, so AI can see what kind of color we should have, what kind of typography we should. It can give some examples, references, but at the end, as a designer,
Yeah.
we should know all those spatial around
Yeah.
the design thing, the product which is going away. So the human touch.
I think a very interesting, that reminds me of very interesting question, and also a point where, like, you gave an example of supermart. So going to a supermart, getting the feeling of that supermart.
feeling.
I have always wondered that how AI would be ever be able to feel the feeling that we have standing in the supermart, and listening to the activity that's happening around, and seeing, feeling the temperature over there. I don't know if, if like AI could ever fill in that gap, or be able to understand that feeling.
True.
Because for that to understand, we should know how to communicate that feeling. And I don't think that everyone would know how to communicate, and that would create like that. There's a big gap over there, because we can't create a data set of all the feelings together, and there's a huge permutation combination over there.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it could be anything. Yeah, this is a good point.
Even this, I was thinking the last week. I gave one prompt to the ChatGPT to generate an sweater design for me. And I said, "There's a winter going on." So he thought that winter. He compares that Ahmedabad winter to the Switzerland winter, and he gave me a very furry thing. What if?
Yeah.
In fact, in Ahmedabad, it's not like the temperature
That
is
hot.
30 degree. It's not like Switzerland ka 4 degree, 5 degree. So that's where the thing comes.
But if you say that looking at the Ahmedabad winter since past 10 years or 5 years, suggest me the sweater designs.
Then it can suggest. So that's where you said like it should be better at
prompting and all. Yeah. I think as designers we should learn how to create or form the question we want to ask to ChatGPT, and I think that is one of the best quality a designer should have, which would make a better human designer, not the AI designer, where AI can act as a better assistant rather than replacing that designer.
Yeah. All right. Let's sum up with some of the pros and cons of AI into the design.
Yeah, for sure. I think AI can do great job at repetitive tasks, mundane tasks, but over reliance would kill the creativity. Also, it would limit the designer to become a better designer. That will be the cons of it. You want to talk about any of the pros and cons?
Like when we talk about pros, like it enhances the efficiency by taking the smaller task of generating or rectifying the text or creating basic example like content calendar.
Yeah.
So basic layout it can help us. So that's I can consider as a pros. Cons method there are like
Yeah, a lot.
we already
I think
talked
even the
about
originality
authenticity
piece is
and
also
all.
there. The authenticity of like what AI could generate for you and give you, and like even if you are trying to create something very authentic. And again, this is related to relying so much on that data and trusting that data.
Yeah.
So I think trusting everything that AI is giving you, that trust hasn't built there, we haven't reached there to give the complete credit to the data that AI would give, and having that data authentic.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest con
This
I
is the
would
biggest
consider,
one,
along with the limitation that it creates to become a better designer.
yeah, I agree.
So, do you think, again, going back to the big question, do you think that it is making the designers lazy or like more creative?
Uh, I think that's depend on the designer itself. Designer should push themselves and
Yeah,
think AI as an assistant,
yeah, yeah.
like a
Very true.
personal assistant helping around some of the mundane tasks.
Yeah, very true. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and tune in to the next week's hot topic. Are design degrees still worth it in the age of self learning and boot camps? You don't want to miss that out. Thank you.
Thank you.